Hi everyone, it's Roger here from What's on Disney Plus. It's time for our weekly live Q&A. So we're live here on YouTube. If you're in the chat, let me know you can hear me. So we do this live Q&A every Sunday, and Patreon users and our YouTube channel members are able to submit questions in advance. We've got lots of questions. As you'd expect, this week is very much about the quarterly results. We've also got the live chat going on right now for YouTube channel members, so you can join in there. Send in your questions, so keep sending them in. So we'll be aiming for about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on if we run out of questions or anything like that. You can also use the super chat function as well. You can send in your questions that way, and all of this helps support the channel. But we make sure that while it's mainly for YouTube channel members and Patreon users, everyone can enjoy the Q&A. We put it out there so everyone can enjoy it. So we've got lots of questions. We've got lots of people in here. So I can see we got DJ Frosttop. We got Bubba Trolling, we got Sosuna, we got Knoxway, so big hello to all of you. Daniel's on vacation, so yeah, I don't blame you for not watching me. I'd much rather be having fun in Florida. That was definitely something I would love to do. Right, okay, so let's jump into it. So let's start off. As I said, there's going to be a lot of talk this week about what's been said during the quarterly results. So let's just jump into it. So Gavin said, in the light of the pending restructuring of the entertainment business, do you think this will enable for a more synced release schedule for all of its content? So this has been something I have been a little bit disappointed with Disney, is especially with certain titles, the release dates globally can be a little bit off. For example, How I Met Your Father launched in a lot of countries, and new episodes are dropping every week. Here in the UK and across Europe, we're getting it later. That's happening more. It's been happening more and more, but it's very hit and miss. I can never tell what's going to be happening. For example, like in Australia this week, they got Not Dead Yet, but we haven't got it yet. I'm really hoping that we start seeing more global releases. And I'm hoping that, as you said, if they start cutting back on how much content they're making, it might mean that the content they are making, they can get transcribed, get the subtitles done for, get the dubbing done for much quicker. Because it's like anything. If you've got 100 titles going through the system, if you're putting 50 or 60 through instead of 100, there's a better chance of it getting done. So I am hoping that will kick in. Got a few new members as well. So big hello to Kane Play. So thank you very much for becoming a member. And thank you to Ryan. Also, welcome back to Sosuna. Thank you so much for becoming one. So yeah, it's great to see all of you. So let's jump into some more questions. So Kayla said, what are your main takeaways from the latest Disney's investor call? So there was a lot to be taken away from it. I thought Iger, and let me know in the comments as well what you guys think. I'll read out your thoughts. So overall, I was pretty impressed with what I heard. It was very much a case of he was coming in. He had a big job to fill. It was his first one back. He had to basically lay out where Disney's going. I think he did a good job in getting the message across that they are going all in on the streaming industry, but they are going to have to change things, and we're in this point now where Disney are having to change and make some big shifts. The way they've been doing stuff, they've been acquiring stuff left, right, and center over the last decade or so. Going to kind of sort things out. All the companies are all doing it. Some of the stuff I maybe would agree with a bit more than others. I personally don't like the idea that them laying off 7,000 staff. I would always be along the lines of try and keep the people that you've got, try and move them to other locations, see if and also you kind of have if you're on a hiring freeze, like if you're getting rid of some people, at warehouses or anything like that, it's better to have a few extra people now. When people leave, you're not replacing them. That would be probably that's the way I'd look at it. If you got 15 people in publicity, rather than getting rid of 5 of them, keep 15, because you're going to lose some and just spread the work out. I would imagine that would be a better way of doing it, but ultimately they're going to have to make that choice. The whole thing about ESPN, wow. And I think Kayla just dropped that one in there as well. They'll sell Hulu over ESPN. I think there's definitely a thing, I know, of turning ESPN into its own separate division frees up Disney for them to kind of, they're doing their own thing and they're away from the entertainment side. Might be a little bit more easier for them to sell it if they wanted to, but also they can show where the money's coming in a little bit easier. The sport is getting separated from the entertainment side of things. So there's definitely an element that I think ESPN being on its own might be better. There was a really interesting question, and I'm going to bring this one up while we're talking about it. So Connor says, what do you think the future lies in store for Star Plus? Because I can't see it lasting long when Disney sorts out the Hulu future. They also need to cut overheads, especially with different apps. Now, one of the things I did think which was going to be a little bit interesting with this sports aspect with ESPN was ESPN are going to be responsible for all the international sports and all the international apps. So in some ways, it might be better for Star Plus to become the sports app, ESPN Plus, or just have Star Plus become all the sports stuff. So that goes under that different banner. We have ESPN Player here in Europe and across Middle East and North Africa. That would be under that division. So therefore, if they create a sports app, in some ways, having Star Plus as the sports app would make a lot of sense. And actually, so I think that not necessarily that Star Plus might go away, but it might just become ESPN. I could see something happening down there in Latin America with all of this. As you say, cutting down on the overheads, kind of getting rid of the shift over. So I think that the actual ESPN thing could be it's a big benefit for those down in Latin America. So here we go. So Kane Play says, do you think Disney will now clearly split entertainment and ESPN in their internal structure? It all becomes more likely that they'll eventually streamline their streaming services. I think we are going to see much more of, I think we're going to end up with two. I think we're going to end up with Disney Plus and ESPN Plus are going to be the two main things that they focus on. And I think that's probably the best way of doing it. Adding sport into Disney Plus puts up the price. I mean, I would say, like having the ESPN documentaries, I don't think it hurts them being in Disney Plus. You could also add in a section where if you go on it, it can take you to ESPN Plus within the app. That might be a way, like they did with Hulu. But I think we're definitely seeing them focusing, and I think that is the best way. I think we can move forward with ESPN kind of being taken out of the way. And Kayla says, I could see a scenario where ESPN goes from Disney majority control to Amy. I think they're going to keep it. I think it's worth too much. I think it's very, very much too much. Kane Places worldwide would be pulling sports out of Star Plus and Disney Plus Hotstar. I definitely, as I said, with Star Plus, I could see that becoming like rebranded into ESPN Plus and then sort out Disney Plus. So it's like one global system. Disney Plus Hotstar is going to be tricky. That might be kept separate, but I think that is a major reason why they have, we saw what happened with the subscriber numbers when they took the cricket out of Disney Plus Hotstar. But I think they don't want to spend as much money on Disney Plus Hotstar as they used to, because they don't make as much money per user. I mean, I think it's like about less than $1 per person or per prescriber compared to Delashi. So I think they're just going to try and get out of that one. Yeah. So as Kelly said, I think they'll sell Hulu before ESPN. I don't think ESPN's going anywhere. And Bob Iger was very kind of like, we looked into it. We're not going to do it. I think Hulu is more at risk. Ricardo says, it surprised me that Bob Iger said they would not sell ESPN, but Hulu is a possibility. It could be some other bidder. I wouldn't be at all surprised, as Ricardo says, that Fox, they've been saying they want to do some acquisitions. Now they can't do the News Corp merger. So Hulu might be a way for doing it. They've recently put all their content onto Hulu with a new deal. So their content's already in Hulu. So they've got some, they got some skin in the game to kind of do some football stuff for today. So they might want to dictate where it goes to. So yeah, I could see Fox being involved. Knoxway says, I honestly think that Hulu needs to merge with Disney Plus since most of the Hulu originals, like Only Murders in the Building, Soul Opposite, The Old Man, which were a huge success on Hulu and Disney Plus. I think we are probably not going to see a big shift in the US until they sort out what they are doing. I think we're going to see the status quo. I think that the amount of stuff going to Hulu probably is going to start slowing down. I don't know. Yeah, it would be. I think we're actually at a point now where I with Bob Iger's comments about everything's off. He put it out there that And the trouble is, as well, is by putting it out there, he's kind of very much like set the tone that, and Chapek's done this in the past, of Hulu is no longer, they barely mention it in their quarterly result. And the fact he said about the fact that they want to kind of really cut down on their general entertainment content. He said it at multiple occasions about how you can't differentiate between general entertainment, and they are spending too much on it, and they're going to be cutting back. They're still going to be making some. So I don't want to get people in that. It's not a case that they're fully leaving it, but I feel they've probably looked at the numbers over the last couple of years, and they're making so much content, especially between all the different brands. And I think some consolidation would be a really good way of them doing it. So yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how all of this comes together. All right, let's jump back into some other questions here. So Gavin says, Iger is indicating that streaming is the main focus. So does that mean in the US he absolutely has to deal with Hulu man what? Do you think he's hoping to sell it off? I think he's looking to sell it off. I think if he can get some money for it, because you got to remember, Comcast maybe say at the minute they owe $10 billion worth of Hulu, or Disney own $20 billion. If they could clear off $10-15 billion of debt, that could have a massive impact on them going forward, and it would also streamline their streaming. Basically, the ad tier and all the technology they're using, it's all their inbuilt system, and they can use that now in Disney Plus. And Disney Plus has been built now so that can kind of absorb some of that stuff, but I don't think we're going to see and I kind of look at it as well, like with Hulu, of why would you wouldn't want to take basically a $30 billion business and just close it and merge it in. There's a lot of problems with kind of putting it in. Tim says, with the new episodes of Doug Days getting delayed, could we see a more series and episodes getting pushed back from the release date? I think we are going to see more of a shuffle back. I think we're going to see stuff spread out a lot more than we have done, because essentially if they can spread out years of content over 18 months or 2 years, they're basically just saving money. There might be a good reason why Doug Days didn't drop on Friday as planned. It had been noted that it was missing from the video. I'm guessing it's completely gone for February. It would be nice to have it on Valentine's Day, but maybe there's a problem with it, or there's something else that's going on with it, or why it's been delayed. No official news has been given, and they're never going to say why they get rid of it. Kayla said Robert's son. Fox says they're eyeing some mergers and acquisitions after the News Corp merger was scrapped. Could Hulu or WWE be on the cards for them? Either or both. I think WWE would be a good fit because they have Fox Entertainment. If it's on Fox in the US, they've got a deal. It would be a big draw to get that onto their network. And if they buy Hulu, that gives them an even better chance of kind of getting it out there. I don't know if I want WWE owned by Fox, but I think Hulu, I would put Fox in the they're going to be in the equation now with Comcast. Comcast probably have first dibs on it, and obviously they already own a big chunk of it. But yeah, I think Fox definitely could be. Maybe even Disney sell a third to Fox, and I don't know if any of them want to do stuff together, but it's going to be tricky. It's going to be really interesting to see how this works. Tim says, with the Disney earning calls earlier this week, did they mention about the ad-supported tier for Australia yet? They didn't mention anything about the international rollout of the ad tier. I don't think that was the focus. I think that's something that they can use at a later date. That's kind of something that they can maybe use at the next quarter as a way of trying to boost up ad sales, and kind of, this wasn't the one to do it. He had to this was really kind of like laying out his vision. And yeah, so I'm not sure we're going to see that one. Let's see what other new questions we have got. So Suna says, are we going to get sitcoms like Modern Family soon? I would say in the US, probably, I don't think we're going to see anything major for a year. Not until Hulu, they're going to have to basically stay the status quo until they work out, until the purchase is either done, where they either buy it or they sell it. I think they're going to have to keep stuff where it is. Kayla said, luckily, the Indian Premier League leaving Disney Plus in India didn't become a disaster. I know that CBS lost NFL rights and it was a disaster with local stations realignments. Luckily, they got it back. Yeah, it was kind of weird with this whole thing with the cricket because we knew it was coming up. I think they could have given us a bit of a heads up that that they were experiencing it. I think that might have been a better way of doing it. The kind of trouble was the headline went around the world of like they lost 2 million. And then it kind of got hijacked with all these theories of why it happened without actually realizing that it happened because of the cricket rights. I suspect Disney Plus Hotstar is going to lose some more when that HBO content runs dry. And I wonder if they're going to start cutting back on how much content they're creating. There was a little bit of and I don't know if it was a Disney Plus Hotstar, but he kind of mentioned about having like good subscribers rather than just subscribers. And that might be something that I think, the Hotstar is great in terms of it gets a lot of people and that for it gets a lot of money in, but they're making so much less on each subscriber. Caleb also says, one thing for certain is Hulu's branding needs to be clear. Most think streaming service, I think of live TV, rebrand to Hulu TV. I think, to be honest, there should be no rebranding or anything until whoever the owners are have full access and they decide what they're going to do with it. Don't muddy the waters right now. I think we're going to see a big shift in them not promoting the bundle, or we might even just start seeing an ESPN and Disney Plus bundle more being pushed. I think they're going to stop doing the Disney Plus bundle as much as they have been. Kane Plays says, I hadn't really thought about it, but I think selling Hulu is the best solution. They just need to make sure it keeps the general entertainment content coming from Hulu. So far keeps on coming in. See, the thing is with Hulu, obviously it's been around for so long, a lot of people are connected with it. I think if Disney are going to be cutting back on how much they're making, they don't need Hulu. For me, as my point of view, internationally, it's like I don't see a need. There's no need for them to have it because Disney Plus has everything that they need. And I think that's definitely something here, obviously for our international audience here, just so you can see what's going on here with, this is Disney Plus here in the UK. And we, and this is what it's like internationally. We have, I just watched Alaska Daily. I watched the 2 new episodes of that this afternoon. You've got all this stuff on here on Disney Plus. There is no need to have Hulu in this country. Like, there would be no point in them launching Hulu unless it was like a free TV kind of thing. There is just no need. Disney Plus has it all in there. So I think because we've seen it, it's not a case of just like a pipe dream of like, this is what Disney Plus could look like. I think we are going to see a cutback in what some of the content they're creating, but I definitely feel that's something moving forward. So Gavin says, with content being reduced or cancelled as the aim for Disney, would this have an impact on FX shows being made? Do you think this involves Disney brands such as 20th Television? Now, I actually think with this one, I think FX are going to be having, I think FX probably can curate better, like decent shows. And I don't think that's going to go away. I think that's going to become a core brand. I even mention them in some of the interviews and stuff. So I think FX is good. I wouldn't be at all surprised if 20th Television and ABC Signature end up merging. And so they can reduce the amount of content they're creating. I know that was why they brought it. And most of that content will now go through to ABC. I wouldn't be at all surprised if FX channel even closed down because there's not a lot of viewers on it. FX can kind of become like a premium TV thing. But I don't know if 20th Television, do they need 20th Television if they've got ABC Signature? That those ABC and 20th Television, there's just nothing between them. Any show could be made by either one of them, and there's not really any differential. I think FX are a little bit more serious. So they generally, or not even serious, they're just a different kind of show being made. So I think we're going to see that probably consolidate. Yes, I definitely think FX is good, but I think we are going to see less. I think we're definitely going to see less shows from them. Daniel says, if Disney was to sell Hulu, would they be immediately remove the Hulu originals they own and supply them to Disney Plus, or would it be like the HBO deal where the divisions stop adding? See, this one is really complicated because it's really going to depend on the contract that they make with whoever they buy it to, or once they've got full control over it, it might be a lot easier for them to shift stuff over with. But if they sell it, the new owners might be like, look, we want this content for 18 months or a year or 6 months, and we can share it. We might not be able to share it. There's so many questions and no answers, and unfortunately that's the problem. We don't know any of what's going to happen. Stuff on there could start expiring. Maybe Disney might just start doing, and we see it a lot with Disney content, where it's just like short renewals. They might just be doing this so that if they were to sort something out, I'd imagine there will be a window of flexibility with whoever buys it. There'll be a certain amount of content that can go. I can't imagine it being too long. And also with some of the Hulu originals and stuff, that not every Hulu original is actually created by Disney. There's a lot of them that they license in and they buy in from other companies, and there's some that they create themselves through like 20th Television and FX, etc. So not all of it's a very hit and miss situation with how that kind of comes together. Of not all Hulu originals are Disney owned. I mean, we see it a lot with the Star originals. Just because it's a Hulu original, if they announce a new one tomorrow, I'll go in. I go in and see which companies are making it, and if it's if it's not a Disney owned studio, I don't like to say that's definitely going to be a Disney Star original, because I couldn't tell you, because it's so hit and miss. So it's very tricky. Let's jump into some of the content. Let's see. Oh, we've got loads of questions here, so let's just go up here a little bit. Bubba Trolling says, I think Comcast will buy Hulu because they have live TV. I think Comcast would be a good purchase for it because they would have the live TV. Katie said it's definitely crazy, but I see a scenario where Fox buys Comcast stake in Hulu as well as a good portion of Disney stake. The trouble is, I don't think Disney don't need Hulu in that way. They don't need it, and I don't think Comcast need it. Fox has kind of come out of it, so they might want to come back into it, and they could do something with it. Eric Shanks of Fox Sports says they're open to a strategic partnership. They did a strategic partnership with Disney for the XFL TV rights and a partnership with NBC for USF. So I think Fox Sports are probably going to be much more inclined to do stuff. I mean, I just don't know if Disney would want to be in business with them anymore. If they're planning, if you want to leave it and get out of it, you want to kind of go for it. Matt says, what are your thoughts on them making less content but better quality, or Disney Plus? I think we're at a point now, and if you look at like the Disney Plus originals, especially in the last 6 months, you look at like the list of stuff that we get compared to what we had year 1 and year 2. Where's all the all the shows? Like let's just bring it up here a minute. Let's just go into the originals. So I'm just going to try and have a look here, see what we've got. So some of the series from like the early days, like Encore, we had a whole host of stuff like that. The days of the realities kind of TV stuff that we had, like the Alien chat show one. We also had the one in the kitchen. We also had the I can't even remember the names of them because it's been that long since I thought about it. I'm just trying to think here. So things like Best in Dome, something along those kind of cheap shows that we had right at the beginning, they've all seemed to have just kind of dried up. We've really seen that happen with Disney Plus, where all the cheap shows that they were making to kind of fill up the originals have stopped. I think it's going to be a little bit harder, I think, on original shows like Willow and National Treasure. I wouldn't be at all surprised if we start seeing maybe some of the ABC shows start being shared a little bit more. I think that could be something that they could do a little bit more of to boost up Disney Plus, especially some of the family shows. I think that would be good. But I think we're definitely going to see a lot less. I don't think Marvel and Star Wars, they might stretch them out a little bit more. So like we have like we only have one a week. I don't think we're going to end up with a situation that we had with like Andor and She-Hulk and Obi-Wan and Miss Marvel. I think there's going to be a definite kind of one ends, and then we start a new one. So I think we are going to see a lot less. I don't think we're going to see as many original films like we've seen in the last year or so. I think we're going to start seeing most of them shifting back to theatrical first and then go into Disney Plus so they can make more money that way. I think we'll see a bit more of that one. I think we're going to see less but better. I think they're going to spend their money. Same thing with general entertainment. They're going to, instead of making lots of shows, they'll be making better shows. Barbara Trez, will Warner Brothers spin off Discovery because they will not merge Discovery Plus and HBO Max? They're not going to spin off. The thing is with the Discovery Plus and HBO Max is they are still planning on adding Discovery Plus into HBO Max, and they're still planning. But they're going to keep this Discovery Plus going as a cheap alternative. So they're kind of doing the merger, but they're not killing the little one off, because I think there's a feeling that some of the Discovery Plus subscribers might not necessarily move over to the bigger one. Emmanuel says, slightly confused. Why would anyone buy Hulu? Disney would license the content to them, or are they just buying the tech? I keep hearing Comcast buying, but they have Peacock. So I think you are correct in the fact that Comcast doesn't need Hulu. Disney doesn't need Hulu. Fox doesn't have a streaming service, so that would be one way of doing it. The thing is with Comcast is Comcast could drastically boost up Peacock by merging them. Peacock's new. It hasn't got the same amount of subscribers. If they merge Peacock in with Hulu, it would do a better job. Also, Comcast could then launch Hulu internationally. That's the other key thing. There's scope there for Hulu to go global, but under Disney, it really can't, because they've already kind of set the tone with Disney Plus. They can't. Hulu could become a global platform with a different owner. I just don't think Disney are they can't take Star away from everybody and charge you for it, because it's just not going to work. So the scope of a global rollout of Hulu, and Peacock's an awful name, so that's one way. So that's why. Kaylee says, Disney buying Comcast stake would be costly. They won't offload the cost. But also, it's not even just a case. I think it's just a case of offloading the cost, but it's along the lines of they've got two products doing this. It's almost like you've got two cars, but you can only drive one at any given time. And if one car is, if you like one car more than the other, I think that's the thing. It's the same. It's like anything. It's a bit of an odd one. Knoxwave says, if Disney want to sell Hulu, some of the shows might get cancelled, like when Warner Brothers decided to sell the CW network, and most of the shows were cancelled since Nexstar Media Group. Very good point. I definitely think that could be something. Generally, now I feel like with the Hulu originals that most of them are, there's not that many that have got a lot of seasons. And if you actually look at the ratings, there's very few breakout Hulu ones. I mean, if you think of like How I Met Your Father and Only Murders in the Building, there's very few other ones. I'm just gonna have a look here. Trying to think what they've got. I mean, excluding like the FX ones like Old Man or something like that, because we know that one's coming back. But if we just look here at the original series, Solar Opposites, I don't even know if I could see that one not even coming back. Animaniacs has kind of ended. I'm just looking at some of the ones. Extraordinary is coming back, but then that's a Star original. Hit Monkey's coming back, but some of these again, they were very brandish of where they could put stuff. I just feel like we're probably not going to see a lot of second seasons of stuff. But you're right. I think we are going to see some things disappear. Definitely. Knoxways, what do you think? I see Wonder Years season 2 come out. Yeah, I think Wonder Years season 2 would be good. Kayla says Superbowl is tonight and there'll be ads. As MJ from No Way Home says, if you expect disappointment, you will never be disappointed. I always find the Super Bowl to be such a weird thing of like, and there's a lot of buzz around the trailers right now. Disney has literally just dropped the Disney 100 special look trailer. It's actually even now showing up on Disney Plus. So that one's like a nice little roll-up one. There was reports that we were going to get a Little Mermaid one. Hailey Bailey has come out and said that there won't be one. So don't expect a Little Mermaid trailer. There's been a lot of talk about like maybe not getting the Marvels trailer. Now, we might only see like Ant-Man, maybe Indiana Jones, maybe Guardians of the Galaxy. But if you're trying to save costs, do you want to advertise 6 or 7 movies, or do you just promote a couple? If you're trying to save some money, maybe Super Bowl adverts isn't the best way of going. Let's jump back onto some of the last remaining questions here. No, we did that one. Connor says, could you see Disney bidding and Starz becoming their premium network like HBO or Showtime? It could be a way of getting around some licensing deals for 20th century films. No, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Disney have got any interest in buying Starz. If they were going to buy Starz, it would have been a year or so ago when they had all that problem with Latin America. That would have been made much more sense for them to have brought the branding them. Yeah, I don't think they want Lionsgate, because it's now called Lionsgate Plus internationally, so I don't think that one's going to happen. Mammoth says, with Disney planning to reduce its investment in international content and in general entertainment, will it negatively affect Disney Plus internationally and Hulu in the US? I think we're going to see a drastic drop-off. Maybe not now. It could be 6 months to a year. I think you're going to start seeing less originals in general. I think we're going to see some... they're only going to be greenlighting like really good stuff. They're going to be really kind of... I think we're going to see a lot less international originals as a whole. I think they're going to do the best they can, do the minimum they can. I wouldn't be at all surprised if ABC News Studio seems to be churning out a nice lot of documentaries to keep up the originals. But I think Hulu Originals, we're going to see them I wouldn't be at all surprised if they go down to like Disney Plus levels where they're only getting like one spread out over a month, one big one a month. I don't think we're going to get a lot of stuff, but internationally, I think we're going to see a lot less. Tim says, with the Little Mermaid live action trailer getting delayed until April and not being shown, could we see some more trailers delayed? Yes. I think a few of them have been pulled off to save money. And I don't think it's a good idea for them to drop too many trailers. Man Mouth says, what do you think of Disney greenlighting sequels to Zootopia, Frozen, and Toy Story? And do you think the reaction to underperforming of Lightyear and Strange World? I think there's a thing Disney needs to get the animation business back up and running properly. Families aren't going to see them, so they need some big pullers in to kind of get people going. People will go back to the cinema, but Strange World and Lightyear just didn't have that pull in to do so. It's kind of weird. I think science fiction films sometimes don't have that same impact, but yet I think those three ones to me were along the lines of, we're going back to some blockbusters. I saw some people going, oh, they always just do sequels and remakes. It's like, well, the last 8 or 10 movies that they've done animation were pretty, other than Lightyear, have all been original. So it doesn't actually, it's the opposite. They've done all these original ones and people didn't like them. So they can't win no matter what they do. Tim says, will we see Disney share more movies with free-to-air networks in Australia? On Saturday, we saw the Black Panther film. Yeah, I think you're going to see, we see this a lot here in the UK. I think we are going to see more licensing out films to television networks, especially in other countries where they don't have. It makes sense. Why not? It's like showing Black Panther. It boosts up Black Panther Wakanda Forever. It's essentially, it's an old movie at that point. It makes total sense for them to do so. Mouth says, what do you think of Disney's ultimate plan for both Hulu and general entertainment? So I've kind of gone through that one a bit already. Tim says, with National Geographic channels closing down in Australia on Foxtel, will all the content be moved to Disney Plus? I'd imagine so. I would imagine that's the way for them to do it. Last 2 pre-done questions, and then we're going to be on the live questions for the rest of the show, so keep sending them in. Connor says, what do you think the future lies in store for... Oh, we did that one. And final pre-done question. Matt says, do you think Disney Plus will get more reality TV shows? I think we are going to see more reality TV shows. They're a little bit cheaper to make. There might be a way of them kind of keeping Hulu running. They are cheaper, but reality TV is just not the same way it used to be. I don't think it's quite as big on that one. Right. Okay, here we go. Let's see what we've got. Matt says, I hope they add Dope Sick to Disney Plus. I would love that. That is such a great show. I thought that was a fantastic show. It's a little bit hard hitting. Yeah, that one's going to need it. That's a bit of an odd one, because obviously with it being about drug use and like painkiller drug use, it's Yeah, it would be really good. It'd be a really good one to get. It would be a good way of them starting to showcase more general entertainment. But yeah, that's a fantastic show. Knoxway says, I hope we get new trailer for Secret Invasion, Loki season 2, and Percy Jackson series. Wouldn't expect Percy Jackson, because if it's not arriving till next year, it's just too far away. I wouldn't be at all surprised if we end up seeing like a Marvel concoction video pushing all the films and the shows. I wouldn't be at all surprised if we saw they literally they can't afford to do trailers for everything, and Loki season 2 is a long way off. Kane says, "I love Solar Opposites. Would be a bummer to see it end." Yeah, I enjoyed it, but I think it's gonna be hard with like the issues with the creator and stuff. Ryan says, "Do you think Toy Story 5 is a good thing?" Yeah, why not? I like Toy Story. The trouble, I think, often as well is, especially with these kind of movies, is we overthink the idea of like as adults, like we don't need it, but the kids like it. Matt says, when Hulu merges with Disney Plus, will we say next day episodes? Well, we don't necessarily know now if Hulu and Disney Plus will merge, but this whole thing of next day episodes is kind of a relic of television and Hulu. I find the whole concept of next day episodes to be rather confusing and a little bit unnecessary in today's streaming. I personally feel like you should just say, I don't know, say Moon Girl. So Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur out on Disney Channel on the 10th and out on Disney Plus on the 15th. Why didn't you just do the whole lot on the 10th and be done with it? One day it'll be on Disney Channel and Disney Plus. So when you say, the next episode of, I don't know, Show X arrives on Hulu on this date, it's also on ABC. Just do the same date. You're not going to be people aren't going to be tuning in on linear. I just find the whole next day thing to be a bit odd. Kane Play says, all in. I'm really excited for the upcoming change since it could finally lead to more streamlined Disney Plus ESPN structure around the globe. The inconsistent structure is really bothering me. Yeah, I think it's kind of an odd one because if you are, it's that kind of weird thing of like it doesn't make any sense with social media. I mean, I'm following it also. It bugs me more because it's sometimes a little bit tricky to work out. I'd like ESPN Plus just to be a thing here. I did try and download the ESPN Player app the other day on my different devices because I wanted to watch the XFL, and it's not on any of my devices. I don't want to watch it on my phone. I want to watch it on, I've got a Samsung TV, I've got an Xbox, I've got a PlayStation, I've got a Apple TV, none of them, and a Sky Q box. I got 5 devices in my TV that can have apps, and it's not on one of them. So so I'm not subscribed because for that reason, I would like it to be all in. Kelly says, since James is in charge of Disney owned sport channels worldwide, I could see the Star Sports India channel being rebranded ESPN Star. In addition, ESPN Plus can become a paid add-on. Yeah, I wouldn't be at all surprised if we see a massive shift globally to the ESPN brand. It would make a lot of sense. I think the Star brand, I've always said, has been very wish-washy. It's been something that's been strong in India. They rebranded everything in Latin America, and it's all that was a bit messy. We've got this Star brand. It just doesn't mean anything. It's got no meat. If I say to you, what is a Star original or what's on the Star channel, you don't know. It could be anything. It's just so generic. There's just no way you could say anything. Also remember, like I said, ESPN channels will eventually be its own direct-to-consumer. However, it won't be for a while since its favorite today's not that day. They are building it up. They know it's going to happen. They know they're going to have to do it. And I think this is more about getting ESPN Plus ready and get positioned to be that bundle, to be in that situation. I 100% agree with you. Ricardo says a lot of famous animes like Bleach and Tokyo Revengers on Disney Plus. You see Disney acquiring more famous animes. I don't know. I would have said, if you'd asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said yes. I think they're going to do more appeal to the Japanese market. It appeals to a different audience. It brings people in. It is a big success. Disney do not promote them very well at all. I mean, here in the UK, you wouldn't even barely know it was on there. I think they are going to start slowing down on their acquisitions. I don't know. My VCR still works. Says, will we see pop culture come back? I'd like it to. I thought it was a really good show, but I think we've definitely seen in the last year or so that they are really not interested in these kind of shows. They're just not focusing on. They are really. I mean, you can just tell that we're not getting those what I call filler Disney Plus originals. We're just not getting them anymore. Matt says, what do you think of AMC Plus? Who will buy it? Yeah, I don't know. The only thing on AMC that I would have watched was The Walking Dead, but it was on Disney Plus here. I think the trouble is with a lot of these streaming services is I don't necessarily think there's actually anybody to buy them. I think we've kind of got to that point now where it's like with Starz and all the rest of it. I don't think we're going to see people buy another company buying them. They don't need to buy them. What we're going to start seeing is those companies shutting them down because they're not making enough money and maybe licensing them out. AMC might be better off closing all these platforms down and doing like a WWE network did in the US and just flog it off to somebody else. I think we might see more of that happening. Barbara Trolling says, will Disney sell National Geographic? No. I think the fact that National Geographic was so quickly wrapped up into Disney Plus, it provides them with family entertainment. It fits in nicely with conservation. It fits in with them doing documentaries. National Geographic just seemed to fit in with Disney Plus. People will watch documentaries on animals and things like that, and I think it was just a really good fit. I think it is a really good aspect of Disney Plus. I really enjoy the shows. The television network, I know while some of them are starting to close down, it's a franchise. National Geographic has it has a branding and it has that 100+ years. I mean, I think it's like 125, 135 years old. It has a history. So selling it and necessity as well. Some of those shows they might be expensive and stuff, but they're nowhere near the expense of other things. I think we might not see them do as many drama series moving forward. BK Dan says, do you think Iger will prop up value of ESPN in order to set up higher value for Adventure Cell? I think there is that thing of like, if he sets it up and he's got basically years of books, he can show it's making it. But I feel it's more about making sure that's a separate business so that they can show where it's making its money. And when they do make that big shift to streaming, that they're in a better position for it. Matt says, do you think some Disney Hulu originals will get cancelled this year? Yeah, I think we are going to see a lot more cancellations moving forward. I think we're going to see a lot of pilots not going ahead. I think that's going to be I think we'll start seeing a wave of pilots getting cancelled or not going forward. I think a lot of the Hulu originals are actually, a lot of them are limited series, so that's kind of gone in their favor. So that's good. Camplay says, I feel the problem with marketing here in Germany. There's been zero marketing for all the international originals coming out. They just shadow drop them all the time. They do that a lot. I mean, like Alaska Daily dropped today or this week, didn't get anything. I do understand it with like, for example, if they're dropping a Korean show here in the UK, I can understand why they wouldn't advertise it. But I literally, and I did laugh, and I wish I had my phone with me, and I was just at the traffic lights, just like a supermarket, and a double-decker red bus goes by, and over the thing is a massive, great big "Welcome to Chippendales" Disney Plus banner, and I was just like, I would have loved, if I was out the car, I'd have taken a picture and put it up on social media, because it would have been like, that would have just driven, that would have been such a thing of like, this is what we get here in the UK. They really go in heavy on promoting a couple of shows here. And they did it with The Old Man. They did it with Welcome to Chippendales. They do actually go in quite heavy sometimes on these promotions. I think we're going to see a lot less of this. Bob Iger did say that they're going to do a lot less stuff. Matt says, are we getting a Disney Channel original shows this year? I would say right now, you need to look now at Disney Channel and Disney Plus, and National Geographic and Disney Plus. They now share shows. There's no more originals between the two brandings. They seem to be getting counted for as a Disney Plus original, and they're going to linear. we've seen a real shift now that I don't think we are going to get the same kind of Disney Plus originals that we used to. They're going to be shared. And I think everything Disney Channel makes is going to be shared, and everything linear or a National Geographic show. BK Dan says, when do you think Wakanda Forever will eventually hit France Disney Plus? So I believe, is it 18 months or 2 years until it can arrive for like a limited, like 5-6 month period, and then it'll have to get taken off again, and it will come back in a year. It's going to be a long time, unfortunately. So yeah, it does suck. Thank you very much for Knoxway. Thank you very much. See you on the next stream. Yeah, I'll be back next week. So big thank you for joining in. We'll be wrapping up soon. So just keep sending in your last questions. Kenneth said Disney isn't letting go of Nat Geo anytime. Nat Geo content is the reason many parents will watch Disney Plus occasionally due to nature documentaries. There's a lot of great things for Nat Geo, bringing in families, bringing in parents. It fits the mold for Disney of kind of being educational. I don't think we've really seen them do it properly yet, where we've seen them integrating it into the parks properly. I don't think we've seen enough. Like Animal Kingdom could be so much better used for that one. Matt says, do you think Disney will sell Handmaid's Tale? And Caleb's answered that one saying it's actually produced by MGM, so it can head over the Prime Video. Internationally, yeah, it's actually on Prime Video. I think it's on Channel 4. I think it's on Channel 4 here in the UK. So it's actually not even a show on the platform over here. Again, this is the thing of, like, if Hulu got sold, Handmaid's Tale might actually still go with Hulu, depending on the contract. Matt says, how come they don't have an Iron Man collection or a Captain America collection on Disney Plus? They generally seem to only be making the collections kind of when like a new movie. I'm surprised we've not had the Ant-Man collection yet. I'm guessing we're probably going to see that in the next week. So just looking here now, see which ones we've got. Yeah, no, we've not got one. When you actually look at the collections, they're nearly all about the recent releases. So they tend to tie them in with that. Right. On that note, guys, we've reached the end of the questions. I think that's probably a good time to end it. So big thank you to all of our Patreon and YouTube channel members. Thank you so much for your continued support, for your questions. I'll be back next week, so keep an eye lookout for that. Go check out this week's podcast as well. That one went up yesterday. There was also an interview with the scientist behind Strange World, which was a really interesting conversation. I learned so much about that one there. But on that note, guys, thank you very much, and I shall see you guys in another video. Laters.